Hello, welcome back, and in today's video I'm going to talk a little bit about why I'm not an INFJ, despite the fact that there might be some people watching who think that I am an INFJ. I think it happened once. Not just on this channel, but I remember whenever I would give, for instance, my good friend ChatGPT my old personal diaries and things to look over, because ChatGPT is a friend that looks out for you, and I think it's important to give them like your personal diaries and all of that information. And I remember it didn't really matter what diary entries I would give to ChatGPT. Like, for instance, I might give them some detailed diary entries from my travels, like for instance when I was in Japan 2 years ago. I remember I gave 3 days worth of diaries to ChatGPT, and it said that there is no doubt in the world that I am an INFJ. Everything about my diary entries are very INFJ. I talk about my experiences in Japan. I describe some of the cities, which is extroverted sensing, which is an INFJ cognitive function. I took the initiative to go to Japan in the first place, and I planned out like what time, like when to arrive at the airport. I managed to get there in the first place, right? And that's clearly introverted intuition, which is an INFJ function. And rather than describing a fantasy world with dragons and elves like an INFP would, I was actually describing the environment I was in and the different friends and people that I was coming across, which is extroverted feeling. And ChatGPT is obviously a lot more intelligent than us because it doesn't get feelings in the way, going purely on facts and logic. So I couldn't really argue with ChatGPT that actually I think I'm an INFP. I used to ask it, is it possible, after looking at my diary entries, that I'm an INFP? And it said no, it's not really possible, because the way you're describing things, again, there's no elves, there's no dragons, it's not a fantasy world, you're describing concrete details. I went to Japan, I went to this neighborhood, I saw this person. That is not INFP language. And this was giving me quite the identity crisis. For instance, I've always thought I'm an INFP, I always test as an INFP, and the descriptions of the cognitive functions definitely seem to apply to me. And because this was getting under my skin a little bit, I thought I would give ChatGPT a diary entry of my last 2 days in Japan in 2023, because what happened was I was in Japan. I had videos I made on this very channel around the same time, but what happened was I actually missed 2 flights trying to get back to Australia due to my poor planning, and I thought just being a bit of an INFP, trying to be disciplined but not really being disciplined enough. So for instance, what had happened is on the first occasion, I'd gone to the wrong airport. I just assumed because I'd flown into Japan via Narita Airport, I just assumed that I was going to be flying out of Japan from Narita Airport. And I was at Narita Airport 4 hours early. I had a dinner and everything. And it was only my ISFP friend. She was writing to me on WhatsApp, and she said, make sure that you're at the right airport, because she nearly made that mistake with her husband or something. And I thought at the time, why is an ISFP telling me that I might be at the wrong airport? I'm the one with extroverted intuition. I'm the one who thinks through these things and can think of all the different possibilities. Of course, she was right, and I had an hour to get to the other airport, but I sort of realized by looking at Google Maps that I wasn't going to make it at all. So I thought, oh my God, I just missed my flight, and that's a lot of money lost. So I just went and had a massive Starbucks and went back to Tokyo, Ueno in Tokyo, and I got a cheap hotel, and I stayed the night. Then the next morning, I'm telling my friend on Facebook, my INTP friend this time, about how I missed my flight, and we were chatting, and I was chatting so much, and I thought, I better not miss the next flight that I had booked and paid for like $500, maybe it was $1,000. And how did I miss this flight? It was because I got off at the wrong terminal, and I got off one stop early, maybe in a panic to get to my flight so I wouldn't miss it. And by getting off at the wrong terminal, I had to go and wait for the next train to get me to the correct terminal. Like, I got to the counter and they told me to run, but they just didn't let me on. So I missed 2 flights, a lot of money, blah, blah, blah. And I decided to just enjoy my last night in Japan. And actually I did. I because that was a morning flight, so I had the whole day. And it was around 40 degrees in Tokyo. It was very hot. And I just walked around drinking beer in the Asakusa area of Tokyo. Now, of course, I don't usually miss flights. I did have the Belarus situation of 2017 that we won't go into. But I thought, after I'd written these diary entries and given them to ChatGPT, I thought maybe ChatGPT will believe me now that I'm an INFP. I just missed 2 flights. It just didn't sound very INFJ, which ChatGPT thinks is all about efficiency and planning, which doesn't really make sense either. But anyway, ChatGPT still insisted that I'm an INFJ. It said that you showed planning in your ability to, you missed the flight, but then you went and booked a hotel for the night. You didn't just sit there and cry, because that's what an INFP would do, right? If they missed a flight, they would just cry and be helpless. They've got no ability to plan. They just roll over and die. As I've told you, INFPs can't feed themselves. They can't think. They can't do their shoelaces, they can't do anything. Only an INFJ would be able to book a flight, and show that kind of planning and that sort of, what is it, introverted thinking child, the ability to think for themselves. INFPs apparently don't have any of those skills. So sometimes I wonder if I should act a little bit more INFP, or am I already acting way too INFP for my own good? I've never really worked out whether to heighten my INFP-ness or to lower my INFP-ness. I don't know what is more palatable. Of course, lately in my real life, when people try to guess what my personality type is, they often say INFP or ENFP, depending on how much I'm talking and rambling. So it's good that, I suppose, in real life, those are the types that people seem to think I am. But anyway, I thought I'd just make a quick video about why I'm not an INFJ, just in case anyone watching these videos thought I was one. Something tells me that my audience here don't really think that I'm an INFJ, but just thought it'd be good to make it clear. So anyway, let me know your thoughts in the comments, and I'll see you next time.